Hello my YouTube family, Disciple here for New Gaming, bringing you my Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition trailer breakdown. Alright, first here we start off with the introduction of this dragon, well that was my first thought, but actually in Dark Souls, you know, the dragons are dragons of old and they're made out of stone. So I'm actually fairly certain that this is like a drake, possibly, you know, black drake or something like that. There was also, you know, the enemy that was very similar to him in the actual Dark Souls game before the DLC is going to come was the red drake, and he wasn't a dragon, and when you cut off his tail you got the drake sword. So I'm pretty sure this is a black drake. He's possibly warped or changed from other drakes. You know, with all the darkness in this game, and a lot of this DLC is going to be implementing a lot of the darker themes, so possibly that's a theory as to why he's so changed. Also, something else I'd like to note is as he's about to fly off here, there's no real area it seems like you'll fight him. So I'm pretty sure the role he'll play in this game will be similar to the role that Red Drake played, and you know, just as he passes by he'll attack you and there'll be ways you can kill him. Alright, so yeah, he flies off here, and as again I noted, there's not really an area it seems like you can fight him. Alright, coming up next is this either Mirage Wall or Mirage Door. I have two theories so far as to what this is or what it leads to. The first of which is developed by a picture I'm about to show here. The second one I'll develop later on. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of Dark Moon Tomb. You know, the entrance to Dark Moon Tomb kind of faded away when you had a certain ring and you walked up close enough to it, and then you had access to the Dark Moon Blade's Covenant and the Gwendolyn boss fight. Alright, here's the picture that kind of forms my first theory. In the Dark Souls, in the text on this picture on the Dark Souls Facebook, it read, Tower of Ulasile. This tower that looks like an old ruin can be seen far from Ulasile Township. A royal family of Ulasile is only allowed to enter it, as well as the sanctuary wood at the bottom of the tower. Alright, so I'm thinking that this could possibly be an entrance into Ulasile Tower, and it's guarded, or you need to have some ring that links you to the royalty Ulasile or something similar to that. My second theory I kind of like better, and I kind of have a lot of basis to form it off of from all the research and you know, playing through this trailer I've done frame by frame. But yeah, again, I'll develop that later on when we pause a few other pictures that will kind of develop it really well. Alright, now continuing on here, show some of the you know, fading of the door or whatever. And this little thing, the dark portal. Now I like to first point out that this is, I'm pretty certain, in the dark root basin area where you defeat the Hydra, and where Dusk of Uldasire herself is located in the back, and when you defeat a golem, or when you defeat a golden golem, you rescue her. Now, this seems probably pretty obvious to several people, but I just want to be as thorough as possible for those who wouldn't know or who would have to ask later on. This is most likely and pretty obviously the entrance into the DLC, or the extra content that will be in the Prepare to Die edition, and the content that will be added on later on to the consoles. So it seems pretty obvious, and the obvious links to also that Dusk of Ulasile, like I said, herself was here, and that we'll be entering Ulasile. I also have a few theories as to where we'll be starting out in the DLC, and I'll you know, kind of form the basis of those theories later on as well. But we're going to be continuing on here. So now the player moves up to touch the portal. There's actually a scene later on where I'll play slowly what happens and break that down. Alright, I just wanted to pause it here to kind of verify and clarify that this is not a new area that will be introduced in Prepare to Die. This is actually Undead Parish, as you guys notice the Balder Knight and the scenery in the background. I just wanted to clarify that because I myself only noticed when I went through scene by scene, and it kind of plays through quick. And I just like to note that he's also using Ricard's Rapier. Kind of interesting. Alright, in this next part here, this is also not a new area. I just wanted to point that out again to clarify for everybody, because again, myself, I only noticed when I played it through, you know, scene by scene, frame by frame of this video, and there's like 30 frames per second or something, I don't know. Anyway, this is Dark Root, I believe Garden, and these are just the mushroom men that can be found there. Nothing too special. And again, this is just old content, and I believe they're showing this because the whole game is going to be new, technically, to PC play. Continuing on, now I paused it here because when I watched the trailer, I mean, the trailer itself was only 56 seconds, so everything went through pretty fast. When I watched the trailer, I wasn't certain exactly what happened in this scene, so I paused it to kind of clarify for you guys. This is just a Hollow Thief down in the depths area, and this is his backstab attack when he actually climbs on you and slits your throat. Nothing too interesting or too special, and again, I think they're just showing this because the game is going to be all new to PC players, technically. Now I pause it here because there's something I wasn't certain of myself at first until I actually went and did some research and looked up. Now this weapon I believe is just a dagger, which is the default starting weapon for the sorcerer class, which is also the armor this player is wearing. If you guys think it's a different weapon, or you guys think it, or know it is something different, then you're just supposed to comment down below, but I'm fairly certain this is a dagger. I was kind of confused at first, but you can also get this from the Hollow Merchant. Continuing further onto the trailer, these are some of the wooden scarecrows you'll find in Sanctuary Wood, and I know that name because of a picture on the Dark Souls Facebook actually called them that. These are different from the trees in Darkroot Garden, and they're not actually trees. They also have different weapons and several different tools. Some of them wear shirts, as you see some of them wear pants. Kind of the color of King Jeremiah's robes, but I really think there's no connection there. Kind of interesting though, they have a lot of different tools, and some of them actually tend and mend to trees, so cool. Now I pause it here just to point out something I thought was kind of interesting. In the picture that's about to pop up here in a second, you're going to see them using the shears to trim trees. And actually right here where I pause it, he's using the shears to attack. So I thought that's kind of interesting. They're able to use the tools both as weapons. So maybe you'll see more tools utilized as weapons beside the shears. But I'm thinking the shears are probably going to be their primary weapon as they're using them right here by default. Interesting. We'll have to wait and see if anything develops on that. But I did think that was kind of interesting, so I wanted to point it out to you guys. Alright, next we're going to look at the actual Guardian or Sanctuary Wood, or who's also referred to as a Stone Knight. I think he's probably both, or maybe they are different, but I'm not certain at this point. He actually is doing an interesting move right here, a charging attack, and it's kind of similar to the way the Stone Knights attack, but I think he went a bit farther. I thought that was kind of cool to point out, so these guys may be a bit tougher than the Stone Knights in the Darkroot Garden. I also like to point out he's using a stone grade axe. If you guys remember from Dark Souls, this is Dark Souls, but if you guys remember the Stone Knights in Darkroot Garden, you were actually able to get their great swords, and they had different weird attacks. A lot of people didn't like it, did the Tranquil Peace thing, but they have a stone great axe here. I'm wondering if players will be able to get that weapon. I'm assuming we probably will, so here's a new weapon we'll probably have for PvP and PvE. Alright, as we continue on here, the player was knocked down by the Stone Knight. Here is a grave. Well, there's a grave in the ground, but this area doesn't really seem like a graveyard. I'll come back to this and talk more on this later, because this really helps me develop one really prominent theory that I have and I want to share with you guys. When I was going through it frame by frame, I found a lot of stuff out. Alright, continuing on here though. This is Township, and I have all these names confirmed, and I know them all from the Dark Souls Facebook. I just like to point out that the area down right seems like where you could possibly enter into the Ulasal area and all the new areas in the content that's being added. You know, in Dark Souls, pretty much everywhere you go, you could go and explore. So that's kind of why I have that theory, and it doesn't seem like that area is linked to anything, and it is lower than the Township area right there to the left. Alright, continuing on, this is Ulasal Township again, and I know that because the architecture off to the left is the same as in this picture, and in this picture on the Dark Souls Facebook, this was called the Ulasal Township. It just seems like the township leads all the way up to that area, which is Ulasal Tower, which is also verified by the Dark Souls Facebook, and it seems like we'll be able to explore all this area. That's very interesting. Alright, now coming up here is the portal scene where the hand comes out, and it just like, I paused it right here, because I like to point out that the hand has suction cups, kind of like on tentacles, and it looks like it's made to grab, it's made to hold on. So possibly the designers actually thought about that and implemented that for a reason. I just thought that was very interesting, and I thought I would share that with you guys. Just a theory of mine, but let me know what you guys think. Now this whole scene is going to play out here very slow for you guys so you can see everything. Again, like I said again, it happens very fast in this very, very short trailer. And I do that on purpose to get a lot of buzz going, but I'm breaking it down because you guys can actually see a lot more, and there's a lot you can get out of this. So the arm, you know, pretty much reaches out really, really far, grabs you. It doesn't seem like it can see what it's doing because it reached out so far. It just made sure it had you, and then pulls you back into the portal. Now I'm going to pause it right here because the portal actually closes, and what I like to mention is that since the portal closes, before we go venturing in there, as players, we're probably going to want to be well equipped and make sure we have everything we want to take with us, because I haven't seen any fires in the content being added. I'm sure there will be, but we might have a while till we see those. Alright, now this next area is Sanctuary Wood, and I just like to note that it's much brighter than Darkroot Garden, so this seems like they're adding a lot of contrast. There's going to be, you know, the dark and twisted areas, especially surrounding Artorias and like the chained prisoner, and probably Ulasal, because the whole town has gone dark, and then there's going to be these bright, nice areas to kind of give you maybe a relief from that. I'm not sure what their plan is, and there's also an enemy off to the left. I'm not sure what that is. It seems too small to be a Stone Knight, so I'm not 100%. Alright, this part is very important. At the very least, this guy is wearing a new set of armor, I believe, at least his hat. Now, I was playing this through frame by frame. I also noticed and paused it right here. You see the red circle. He has a sniper crossbow, I think, because look at it. It has a scope on it, so I'm fairly certain he has a sniper crossbow. When I saw this or thought about this, I went and made sure. I went to the sniper crossbow and read the description, and it says it's used by snipers of Karim. So either this guy could have a connection to Karim, or we could be fighting him in Karim. I'm not 100% on that, but I also like to note that he seems to be an NPC phantom. And if you guys see, as I'm showing you right here, new NPCs, including Hawkeye Go, he's the only one mentioned there. So I was automatically thinking about that connection. Now I didn't want to speculate too much, so I automatically started doing a lot more research, and I actually found out Hawkeye Go is mentioned in the original Dark Souls. He is in fact a Knight of Lord Gwyn, and I read the Hawk Rings description too, because when I did some research, I found some people talking about all the connections in a Dark Souls forum, and it's actually from last year. So I was kind of like, what? I kind of wondered how they knew about him, and I hadn't, because I don't pay much attention, obviously. But he's a Knight of Lord Gwyn, and he actually does use ranged weapons. He was the leader of the Dragon Slayers who used the Dragon Slayer bows, and obviously the owner of the Horn Ring, because it says that he was the owner of it. So there's a lot of connections there, and he does use ranged weapons, and if he makes an appearance in this, that'd be very interesting. I know Artorias is another knight that's appearing in this one, and Hawkeye is appearing in this one as well. So maybe the sniper crossbow was his weapon. I'm not sure, because the Dragon Slayer bow, actually I did some research on that too. The Dragon Slayer bow doesn't say he used it. It says his knights used it. So I'm really wondering, and it's really got me thinking that this could possibly be him, another Knight of Lord Gwyn that we could be fighting. He seems definitely to be possibly an important character, and he's the only one mentioned again on that picture I'd show you guys previously. So that'd be really interesting to have another Knight of Lord Gwyn appear here, and especially one that's ranged. Now, in the next scene, I'm going to slow down and play for you. You're going to see why he could actually be a viable enemy, and possibly introduce a new way and a more viable way to fight at range in this next clip. Okay, so I'm slowing this down again. So he does this little sweeping like back kick, and as you see, it actually pushes the player fighting him back. So this was very, very interesting. Knight of Lord Gwyn will obviously have a lot of devices to fight and allow him to fight, and this kick is possibly giving him, as a ranged fighter, more options and more of an option or ability to attack without fearing, getting backstabbed or whatever. So I was kind of thinking about that, but the sniper crossbow does not give you an animation or anything like that. I know, because a lot of people would have already used it. So I'm thinking it's either a ring that he's wearing, possibly, or maybe even his hat. I don't really know about that. I don't want to speculate too much, but it's very, very interesting. And if it's implemented in the game, I know it could possibly have a lot of problems. People complaining like, about the Darkwood Grain Ring, but what I'm really thinking is that if they implement it and they balance it right to where it's only usable like when you're using a ranged weapon, if you do like a jumping attack or something, because ranged weapons don't have those, it would do that kick or something. I think that'd be very interesting and could possibly add a new, more viable playstyle to the game, fighting at range. But there's definitely going to be some implications if this is added, and it will possibly change it up. We'll have to wait and see what if developments actually come from this, but I'm very interested to see this. And even if you're not fighting at range, even if it is slightly unbalanced, what would the ring's effect really be on like PvP? You'd be able to knock your opponent back and possibly prevent a backstab, or maybe they're implementing a way to fight against backstabbers more efficiently and actually keep them from your back by knocking them away. I mean, as you saw, the player had his shield up. So I'm thinking maybe if he had his shield down, it might have knocked him down. But if he had his shield up, it actually pushed him away. I don't know how much damage it would have done to his guard. We'll have to wait and see these things. But I'm very, very interested, especially in the PvP aspect, to see if we have a new option to prevent backstabs. That's what I'm speculating that this may be. But we'll really have to wait and see. I hope it's something that's not unbalanced, though. That's what I'm really hoping. What do you guys think? Comment down below about speculation. I'll actually make a video based purely on speculation, both my own and a lot of the comments that I've been receiving. I'm going to have a video just dedicated to that. So that'll be in the Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition show playlist. So you guys can check the show out by clicking the picture below. But again, on to the next part of the trailer. Now here it shows the Hydra. There could be two reasons for showing this. The first primarily being that, again, this whole game is technically new to PC players that have not played the console version. So this just could be them showing another boss or another mini boss really that you'll fight in game, or it could be, you know, because the portal is to get to the portal you gotta probably defeat the Hydra. You can probably get there without, or maybe you will have to, and that's why they're showing it. Those are the two reasons I kind of figured there would be for this, but I figured I'd just, you know, share that with you guys. All right, now continuing on here, this looks like the entrance into Sanctuary Wood. From the actual text on these pictures on the Dark Souls Facebook, I know that Township connects to Sanctuary Wood at the bottom of Ulusau Tower, and I'm thinking when you progress to Sanctuary Wood, you actually access Ulusau Tower. And I'm not sure what enemies or bosses will all be implemented into this, but I'm sure as the game progresses, we'll all find out. And if there's any new information I come across, I'll make sure to share it with you guys. And now continuing on here, I paused it as something I thought was, again, interesting. This seems to be like the giants from Sun Fortress, but there is one differentiation I wanted to make, that he is wearing a mask like the giant blacksmith, and you're fighting him, he's about to attack you. So either this guy made the wrong giant mad, or we have a new boss in the form of a giant actually related to the giant blacksmith in Dark Souls. Alright, moving on to the next thing I wanted to point out. This is the Red Drake that we all should know well, most people will know that if they've played Dark Souls. This guy was pretty annoying. He'd hit you with a big fire breath attack and almost instantly kill you. So I'm wondering if they're, again, just showing this because this game is technically new to PC players and this will be a new enemy they'll face, or if there was some link from this Drake to the Black Drake in the beginning. I don't know. Speculation at this point, but we'll have to see as everything develops. Alright, I pause it here because this is, again, Ulusau Township, and as the picture is about to pop up here, which I had talked about earlier, down in the right, it looks like where you might start. These statues are the same. I hope you guys notice that. These statues off to the right here, or really in front of the player, are the same. So yeah, this is definitely linked there, but the light is a lot different. So I'm wondering if you go to a different area as you progress through here, the light just changes, or if Ulusau Township is really that big. Really interesting. Again, just speculation at this point. Now, this guy is very important, but I'm only going to show you him here for a second, and then I'm going to show you him again as I develop an idea or theory that I wanted to talk about earlier. Now, this guy's name, as you guys will see right here in this picture, his new boss is the Chimera of Tomb. Chimera of Tomb. So, remember that name. Alright, now, so this guy is shown right after. You guys should recognize this. This is Sif. Now, what did Sif guard? In-game, in Dark Souls, Sif guarded the Tomb of Artorias. And this guy's name is Chimera of Tomb. So there's an obvious connection that I'm making. I don't know if it's obvious to you guys, but it's very, very obvious to me that the FromSoft, or the developers of the trailer, did something on purpose, and that was they put Sif right next to the Chimera of Tomb. Now, this is something that I thought very, very interesting, and this is probably one of the most interesting points and connections and theories I want to share with you guys throughout my entire trailer breakdown. So really, really pay attention to this. I'm going to develop this theory now. Okay, so again, Chimera of Tomb, his name is Chimera of Tomb. So he's probably guarding a tomb of some sort, or in some way. He may not literally be guarding the tomb. He could be guarding an object that gives you access to a tomb, or, you know, like Sif had an object that gives you access to another area. You know, Sif had the Covenant of Artorias ring, which allowed you to access the Abyss. Now, again, I don't think their placing of Chimera of Tomb and Sif right next to each other was accidental. So I'm going to develop this theory again here in a second even more. But again, I do think that Chimera of Tomb is either having an item guarding, has an item that allows you to access an area later on, where you fight someone, possibly a tomb, and I don't think he's right in front of a tomb or guarding an area directly himself. Now, another thing I want to point out, and possibly the most exciting connection that I made, is that behind Artorias' grave that Sif was guarding, there was a ring. It was the Hornet Ring, which belongs to Ciaran, another of Lord Gwyn's knights. So, Sif guarded Artorias' tomb. Behind Artorias' tomb was Ciaran's ring. So I'm thinking possibly there could be a connection between where you will, where Chimera will allow you to go, and you know, Artorias and Ciaran. But I will develop that later on. There are some. That's a very good theory in my opinion, but I'm gonna have some more evidence to support that here in a second. All right, I know you got your interest peaked, but we have a few more simple things to point out. This is again the Taurus demon. This is in the original Dark Souls, so not something new. Neither is this. This is a giant from Anor Londo, so this is not something new either. I just wanted to verify and clarify both of those things. All right, coming up here is the very, very interesting part. You guys are gonna see. So, okay, first of all, this is a new enemy. I'm not sure exactly what he is, but he's made to die. I haven't seen him in any other picture, so I'm not sure what his name would be. he doesn't seem to be very important, because you guys are going to see what happens to him. Alright, so yeah, Artorias drops down and smashes him and just totally obliterates him. Now, two things I want to point out right here is first, Artorias is indeed wielding his own greatsword. Second, and very, very importantly, I want you to take a look at the walls. I know you can barely see them, but do they look familiar? Do you see this grave right here? Which seems probably to be a tomb because it's not really a graveyard. Or look at these walls where Artorias drops down on this enemy. That's very much more clearly the same exact walls as right here in this tomb. So I'm pretty certain that this door right here is accessed by an item dropped by Chimera of Tomb, and you can come in here and fight Artorias after that, which is located, he's located where Sierran's grave is. I don't know why there's a connection between Artorias and Sierran. I'm not exactly 100% on that, but that's isn't that theory just so interesting? Are you guys' interest for Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition peaked at this point? Because mine really is. I made all these connections, and I didn't even have these in my head when I saw the 50-second trailer. I had to play this through frame by frame, go through and read the lore on the Hornet's Ring and the Hawk Ring and the Wolf Ring and everything else again. So I'm very, very interested and very excited. I hope you guys are as well. I think that is a very good theory. If anybody can test me on that or actually has a better one, please leave a comment down below. I'm very excited to see what you guys think. I love Dark Souls as a game in itself, and that's the only reason I'm doing these things, to share this information with you guys. Alright, so if you guys are excited, as you should be, I will have all information in the future that I do discover, and any more theories I want to share with you guys, as well as a speculation video with both your guys' feedback and some of my own speculation. I will have all that uploaded very, very soon. So if you guys are interested in this and you do want to follow this as closely as I am, and especially I'm following it for you guys, please subscribe to both me and when my show is approved. I don't think it is just yet, but the picture below the videos, it actually says Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. Please subscribe to that show, because that's where I will be putting all the videos for this new show. All the forthcoming information will be in that show playlist. So if you're subscribed there, you'll be notified when the episodes are added to the show playlist. And then if you missed a few, you can just play the whole playlist out one after another. It's just like a fancy playlist. That's what a show is that you can subscribe to. And don't forget to subscribe to me as well, because I will be uploading a ton of future content for the Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. Not only will I be covering early information and speculation and stuff like that, when the game does drop, I will do a full walkthrough, several playthroughs for fun, and Let's Plays just to challenge myself. I will also cover PvP, because that's kind of what I'm known for, PvP. So yeah, a lot of stuff to come in the future. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and hopefully you guys will I'm so excited. Sorry. Hopefully you guys will subscribe and join my YouTube family. We all have a lot of fun, and I definitely provide the best content I can for you guys. Alright, now I did cut you guys off from a bit of the trailer as I turned the volume down on some of it, so I want to just replay the Artorias scene, which is incredibly epic and got me most excited here for you at the end, and that is it. Oh wait, one more thing I forgot to mention, a lot of people have been asking about. The game is dropping for PC August 24th, but the DLC for PS3 and Xbox 360 has also been confirmed for winter, is what's been confirmed. What I also heard is someone say September, but I'm not 100% if that is true or not. Alright, here it is. And one last thing, I forgot to do my outro. Yow, love you guys, God bless.